Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Our Ladies Abuja Meetup. My name is Zinatuddin Muhammad, and I will be your moderator for this session. I will be assisted by my colleague, Ifoma Eboga. Thank you and welcome. This event is proudly organized by Our Ladies Abuja team, comprising of Bilkisu Olatunji, a data scientist, Queeneth Omuka, a food technologist, myself, Zinatuddin Muhammad, a public health consultant, Ifoma Eboga, an epidemiologist, Mabel Ajumobi, Abiodun Egwenu, both also epidemiologists, and Nsika Udo. She's a big data analyst. A little bit of housekeeping before we start. We should please stay muted unless we are required to speak. We should also use the chat for questions or comments. We are also encouraged to be respectful while participating and interacting with others. And then the session will be recorded for learning purposes. Today, we are diving into data storytelling, hands-on session using Quarto dashboards in data analysis, where we are going to learn how to use Quarto dashboards in our daily work to create interactive, reproducible, and visually compelling reports that drive business value. And it's my absolute pleasure to introduce our speaker, Bilkisu Wumi Olatunji. Bilkisu is a data scientist and the founder of Business Data Laboratory, through which she offers data science and analytics consultancy services and training. She is also the founder and co-organizer of Abuja R Users Group and R Ladies Abuja. As an R enthusiast and professional, she is also a certified R Studio instructor in Tidyverse and Shiny development, which enables her to facilitate training and workshops relating to R. As an independent consultant, she is also a certified Agile coach and trainer, product owner, and Scrum Master. So we welcome you to the floor, Mrs. Bilkisu, and over to you. You can start now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So please, a quick update or maybe reminder, please, if you're joining, kindly mute yourself. We are recording this session and the background noise would affect a lot of things if we have to be recording everything like this. Okay? Please. So thank you so much, Zinat, and you're all welcome. And let me just have a quick look at who we're having here. So I know we have so many people joining us from Abuja and outside Abuja here in Nigeria. From Lagos, I can see Are Akintunde and Theophilus from Ghana. Thank you so much for joining us from the Ghana R user community. So I can also see Nuruddin, Askia, and others. So please pardon me if I can't mention all your names. Thank you, Ifeoma, for supporting everybody. Well, you're welcome here, Daniel. Okay, so without taking much of our time, I'm going to start by going through a brief introduction on what is data storytelling. Okay, so this is a hands-on session, so we're not going to go too much deep into theories. Well, we have videos of sessions that have been taken by professionals to introduce us to Quarto, and I will implore you to please go to our YouTube channel, the Our Ladies channel. Then you can get most of these educative videos that could help you. So we want to have a practical session today so that we can begin to use what we've learned in the past. So thank you so much. So what will we be, if my network is fluctuating, so please kindly pardon me for that. But if I notice anything that is more than bearable, I will go off the camera so that it can stabilize a little bit. So thank you. So if we have to talk about data storytelling, is more like we want to bring out something abstract out of what we're seeing in our data. We want to give the stakeholders something they can really connect with, something they can make sense of, especially the business owners or the management level people, executive people that don't have time to go through your code or the numerous lines of data that have been collected in different silos and storages. We don't want them to go through this stress. So this is where, as data analysts or data professionals, we come in to tell a story out of the data that we are given. Okay? So we are there to explore the data. As data analysts, we would explore the data and bring out some meaning out of it. And we would do all this using code. This code wouldn't make any business sense to any maybe the executives. So we need to tell the story. What is behind the data that we've collected? So we have to understand what is the business goal? Why are we exploring this data? Why do we have to actually get more data or not get more data? Or if the data that we have is not clean enough, we have to clean it in order for us to be able to help the stakeholders to get meaning out of the data that we're going to be using. So one tool that is very, very common now, that is popular in the R community, is Quarto. Please kindly let's follow up with this. So I'll quickly go through a mini introduction to the Quarto document. So if you want to create anything about maybe your data, you want to tell the stories within your data, you would need to have a document that could be presentable to your stakeholders. It's not going to be your code. We wouldn't want the code to be available there. So let me just create a template or a simple Quarto document now. So from what we've said, there are a lot of benefits that are attached to the data storytelling. We'll be able to connect as humans on a layer above our code and the data that we've collected. So this is by using narratives like data visuals, KPIs, the metrics that could be measured by the stakeholders. This is what they are looking for. So if you look at what I have here, this is a simple Quarto document. So details about Quarto and all this stuff is in, like I said, you can get that from previous videos. So this is a typical Quarto document, but we wouldn't be using all this. So I can render this, but what we'll get is just, okay, let me save this first. Okay, first, let's just make it first dash. Okay, what I will do, sorry, let me create a project first. Don't say this. Let me create a project so that we'll have all our files in one single place. Okay, so usually use REM for you to be able to manage any update that is related to your packages or whatever files you're using in your project. So let's bring this up. So I'll briefly go through Quarto documents, but if you want details, just check out the videos there. So this is a typical Quarto document. I'm going to save this demo as demo queue. Let me just give it demo queue, save. Okay, so I will install some packages here. Okay. So while we're waiting for those installation to be completed, I would go through what we're going to be achieving today. So I hope we'll have the time. So let me run the document and show you the dashboard that we're going to create. We're going to share the code after the session today. So kindly confirm if you can see my screen. You can confirm in the chat if you can see my dashboard. So if you can see the dashboard, kindly confirm. Okay. So sorry, the network is okay. So please kindly confirm now if you can see my screen. So sorry for the poor network here. Okay, thank you so much, Ari. So this is the dashboard we're going to be creating today, hopefully. So, and I believe we'll be able to carry ourselves along and enjoy the time together. Okay. So I think I've completed the installation. So yeah. Um, so I'll go through the simple Quarto documents as fast as I can. So this section here is where you have your YAML. Here you can make some changes to the entire document the way you want it to be, maybe the title of your document, the format, the visual, if you're going to use a visual editor or you're going to be writing it from behind the scene, like writing the code. So this is what we'll be working through for the rest of the session mostly. So, but for this session, we're not going to focus on HTML documents. We're going to change the format to a dashboard. So this is where you have to start first. You have to change this to dashboard. So when you do this, now your document is no more an ordinary document, but it's something that you can transform from even being a static dashboard to interactive dashboard. So that's where our main goal for today is. So you can also change the title. Let's say my first dashboard. Okay. So this is the first thing that you just have to do. Then I'm going to take out all this. You don't need it. This is just the default content that you get when you create the document. So the next thing that we'll have to do is this. There are different parts of it, a dashboard. From what you've seen that I shared with you. Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Okay. That is a typo error. Thank you. And I really appreciate that you're following me. So a dashboard using Quarto is simple, but you just have to know how to create different sections or sections inside your document, which you are now transforming into a dashboard. So the next thing we can do now is this. A dashboard can have multiple pages or just one page. So a page in your Quarto document can be created using the first level header. So here will be the page one, maybe, or you can give it any name like what we have there, maybe overview or something. View. So this will be the first page. So if we save this, let me just add something here. Maybe a code chunk, 2 plus 3, and save, then I'll render. Okay, so okay, let me show you the output now. So I hope can you see my dashboard now? It's still static, and you can still see the code. So the code is there, but we're going to deal with this when we transform it into something interactive, and we don't have to always show it. So you can see the title of my dashboard and the first page, which I gave the name overview. So you can give it any name that you want. It's about building your story. So if you start maybe with the executive summary or whichever layer you want to start with, just have a documented strategy or steps that you want to take. So, but creating a page is as easy as this one. So if I want to add another page, I'll just use the first header level again, maybe page 2. So I'll save that, and you should be able to see the changes when I render the document. Yeah. So now this is the second page, but nothing is in here. So you can continue to add as many pages as you want, but don't overload your dashboard, because we're trying to simplify things for the main stakeholders. Okay. So let me take you back to our studio. So now we've created our pages as we want it. So the next thing would be we would need to add rows. So this is now creating a much more meaningful structure to our dashboard. So we'll have rows and we'll have columns. So if you want to add rows to your page, it has to be the next thing after each of the first level header. That's for the page. So your rows and columns are going to be within your pages. So it wouldn't be row outside of your page. That wouldn't work. So I would show you now. So for the first page, I can add 2 rows. So you don't need to add a name or to your row name or something. No, you don't need that. So, but you can adjust that would be the height for the row, and you can adjust the width for the column. So the first level header is for the pages, while the second level header, which is created using the 2 pound sign, is for the rows. So if I want, I can also add a code chunk here again, or I can just put a text. Let me just put it. This is my maybe first row, second row. Okay. So for the second page, I can just add just 1. So if I save this, I think we should see something different. So second row here. So please, this is a markdown kind of language, but just be careful when you're seeing the colors. That's the beauty of using R Studio. When you're seeing the colors here, just know that the colors have to match each other. The tags here are having green colors based on the theme that I'm using on my R Studio, while the ordinary text or maybe your code should change. So let me save this, and let's see what we will get in as update on our dashboard. Okay. Okay. So I'll share the screen. See, kindly mute. Yes. Okay. Okay. So this is the update on our dashboard. So you can see the first page. I still have the code chunk there, which I need to move down into a row. But you can see the first row and the second row down there. So just know that if anything is going awkward, just look at the placement of all the content of your dashboard, and you'll be able to fix that. So let me just take the code chunk to the first row. So I'll save that. Then we should get an update on the dashboard. So now I have two columns by default now because I have two things inside the first row. So this is the first text that I have here. And the second one is the code chunk. So it's literally breaking them down into columns. So by default, so you should just understand the structure of a Quarto document or a dashboard or Quarto dashboard. So the next thing I'll take you back to our studio is we want to add columns. So if we want to add columns, I believe you remember what I said is going to be the third layer. So it's going to be column, maybe column 1. For this, let me just take this one out. So your columns are going to be inside of your rows. So for column 1, I'll drop this here, then take this, Control X. So I'll be this through column 2. So if I render this, we should have something similar to what we had earlier. Okay, so I'll go back to second. So right now, you can see there is a better presentation on the first page because right now, this ordinary text was actually occupying the entire row, having the same height as the row itself. But the code chunk is the only one now having the entire row occupied. So it's now shrink this up, and this makes sense. So the code will deal with that. We'll be able to take that out when we need to do that. But let's just look at how we created the columns. So as a reminder, for you to create a page or add a page to your dashboard, Quarto dashboard document, you use the first level header. To add the row, you use the second level header, that's £2 sign. Then for the columns, it's going to be the £3 sign. So it's as simple as they just master that and you'll be good to go. So another component that you would want to add would be the sidebar. So the sidebar is something that is of meaning when you have your dashboard. But before I forget, the rows, you can also adjust them. So the code chunk here doesn't have to force itself all over the page. You can add some styling or adjust the height of your rows. So I'm taking you back to our studio. Let me just quickly do that. So if you want to modify the height of your row, then for the column is going to be the width. You can just use the curly brackets, then you say height. Just hope my English will be, so let me just take the first row as 30%. So while the second row, where is it? So this will be height is equal to, let's say we have 30 there, then let's make this 70. But by default, it should take the remaining, but if you want to be more explicit, just add it there. So for the columns, let's just do everything here together. So this will be the width. So if I have two columns here, I can decide to have one bigger than the other. So this should be 40%. While the second one, so width is going to be 60%. So let me render this and we'll go and to the browser to see the results. So can you see my browser now? Okay, thank you. So now you can see the height of the first row is now smaller compared to the second row. And the first column is a little bit smaller in width compared to the second one. So 40, 60, while the rows are 30, 70. So you can decide on the ratio that you want on your own dashboard. So this is just literally how we can achieve this. So moving on now, I want us to look at adding a sidebar for the entire dashboard. So the only thing we have to do is use the same first level for the sidebar that we want to create. So I'll go back to our studio. So I'm back in our studio. I hope you can see my R studio. Please call me back because I'm switching between two screens. So it's going to be this. So first level, then we'll use the curly brackets dot sidebar. So this is the way we can create our sidebar. So we add the first level header, 1. Then we'll use the curly brackets. And inside it, we'll put the dash and dot sidebar. So let me add something in here. My sidebar. So this is my dashboard. So for now, let's have it this way. So I render again. So the rendering is for me to get the updated version of my dashboard on the browser. So go back. So right now you can see the sidebar is now on my dashboard and it makes it beautiful and it's collapsible because that's how easy Quarto can allow you to create your dashboard. Here you can have menus that you can use that is going to control all the other components, even the page too. If as many pages as you have, you still have the sidebar there. So you can collapse it, open, it's collapsible. So this is how you can add that value to your dashboard. So we'll go back to our studio and let me see what else can we add. Okay, then let's talk about the tabs. So we can add tabs to our dashboard. So I'm going to go to page 2 now. I'm going to making those changes on the page 2 to add some meaning to that page as well. So first, if you want to add a tab, that means something like the pages that you're having on your dashboard, but now it's going to be at the row level or the column level, then you have to change the property of your row. You have to add some certain qualifiers to the row that you have. So if you can see my R Studio, yes, I'm still on it. So what I'm going to do now, for this row on page 2, I'm going to convert it to a tab set. So I'll use the curly brackets. So now I want to change the kind of add another property to my row. Instead of just being an ordinary row, then let's add something. So tab set. So with this, I'm going to get something just a single tab set. Tab, maybe I can just give it tab one here. So you can also give your tab be a name or something. So it depends on what you want to have here. So, or let's say my tab one. So I'll save render. Um, so, okay, I'm on the dashboard now. Yes. So this is page 2. So you can see the contents of my tab. So there is a tab now, tab 1. Let me add another one. So, but if I want to, let me take you to, so that you wouldn't be thinking of a magic happening behind the scene. So you're welcome, but when you get in, please kindly mute yourself. Thank you. So if you want to add another tab within the same row, then you have to use the third level. Instead of looking at it as a column, then we'll use the third level for like the column. So tab, let me just give it tab 2. So Control S, I would add a code chunk here. Let me just plot virus. Save this, render, then okay. So now I think we're having fun adding the tabs here. So we have tab 1 now with just this text. Then the second tab is this. So because I added this, then you can see by default it's going to give you that one. So that is how you can add tabs to the rows within your dashboard. So if you want to have it on multiple lines, then you do the same thing. So let's go back to our studio. So if you have questions at this point, maybe I should take some questions if there are questions before I go too far. Is there any question or someone needs? Okay.
Yeah, good morning and thank you very much.
Okay.
Please, I'm a little confused in the tab. Can you take us a little back on the tab?
Okay. Okay, I'll do that. So if Zina, just help him to monitor the chat and let me know if there are questions. So thank you so much, John. So I'm going to go over this. I think I'm on my R Studio now. Yes. Okay, so this is what I did. From what we've gone through up to this point, if I want to add a page to my dashboard, it's going to be level 1. That's using the #1, only 1. So if it's going to be please, I hope you can still hear me. You think I'm still online?
Yes, I think it was breaking.
Yes, a call was coming in. So sorry for that. Okay, so page 2. We'll start a page. We want to add a page. It's going to be page and the first level header. If you want to add a row, then it's going to be second level header. That's £2 okay, a letter or something. So this is what I'm talking about here. So I want to add rows to my page, not to the dashboard. You're adding rows to your page. By default, if you just put something there, you are Quarto will create a page and a row, a column behind the scene. So but the hierarchy goes like that. So this is a row. Okay, so you can just ignore the name or you can put whatever you want there. So this is the row now. So if I want to add a tab or tabs, set of tabs, it has to be on the row. So the only way I can do that is by converting my row to a container called tab set. So if I convert it by adding that attribute or property to it, so it's going to be like that dot tab set. Now it is a container that can take in so many tabs as I want. So by default, immediately I add this attribute or property to the row, it's going to have one tab. Okay. So if I run this again, render, save and render, take you back. So I hope you can see my dashboard now. So what you're seeing here is this. You can see this is different. It's not just like a simple row here. It has like a bar, like what you have in your browser. It has its own like a kind of a structure or part of its structure where you can put a title, add the title. Are we together? So if I add, I'll take you back to our studio. I'm going to, this is this row set. Now it can take multiple tabs. So tab, maybe this will be tab 1, tab 2 now. Tab 2. So for you to add more tabs, you are going to use the third level. As if you want to create a column. You want to add columns to your row. Instead of your row, your columns looking this way, blank, it's going to have a title bar, like a bar here. So I'm going to add another one here in which window am I? Okay, it's on, okay. Let me just add the remaining one, 1, 2, 3, tab 3. So let's go to the browser now. So I believe I'm on the browser. Yes. So, okay. So if you can see my browser now, I've added this tab 1, tab 3. So tab 1, tab 3. So it's kind of, let me just put something within the tab 2. A code chunk now, plus something like okay, something.
Okay, I think you are not on the R studio.
Yeah, I want to just run it, render, then it will show on the tab. So I don't want to move back and forth. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks. Okay. Okay. So if you see there's a change now. So right now it's taking in my title for each of the tabs. So I can change this back to 1. So it's the second tab that I created as taking over the first one that is supposed to be the default. So that is the second one now. So that is going to be tab 2. So, but without setting that property, I'm coming. So render this. Let's see the update first. Okay, so I have tab 1, tab 2 now. So there's nothing in tab 2, there's something in tab 1. So I'll take you back to our studio and explain further. So before you can have tabs on a row or within a row, you have to add this property. the hierarchy for a dashboard or Quarto document is going to be level 1, level 2, level 3, up to level 6. So that is going to be the way the structure will be built on. That's the foundation. So it's going to break your dashboard or your pages based on this hierarchy, header hierarchy. So whatever now comes after each of this header hierarchy is what is going to be the content of your dashboard. So, okay. So normally you have the page, the row, and the columns. But if you now want to convert your row to a tab set, then you're going to have to add this property. And you can also convert a column to a tab set. So in order not to get you lost, let me just say, okay, this is tab 2 here. Then I'll add a second row to the page 2. But here I'm going to add columns now. So this is my column, but I want to convert this column to be a tab set, only this one. So the second column is not going to be a tab set. So I'm going to say tab set this now. So if I want to follow it up with multiple, let me just say tab 1. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Tab 2. Okay, so this is how many rows now? I have one row here with the tab set on the row level. Then the second row, it's not on the row level, it's going to be on the column level. So tab 2, let me see another, let's say tab 3. 3. So let's hope, fingers crossed, this is a live session then. Hope this works out fine. So, okay. So I'm coming. Where's my row? Okay, let me just add heights. The height. It should be 50%. 50%. And this person to let's make it 50%. Quarto. 50%. So let's hope, fingers crossed, get this right. Okay, share the screen. Okay. So I'm not seeing the second one. So let me just go back to my code and see where things are changed to. Okay, let me add a column here. 1. Let's see. Still now adding the effect here. Okay, let me do something. Okay, plots. Women. Hoping this will work out. So render again. Okay, one is there. So I'm still wondering why. So one tab, the second tab here, I'll just add, let me just add something. So that if there is a content, then I will know where Iris, just give me some plots, plot another Iris. Okay, let's see. Hopefully this will work. If there's content, hopefully. Okay. So this is broken down. Just hope this default now, it should be there. There's an issue here. So I'm coming. Let me just transfer this one. Then I'll explain what is going on this live session. So just bear with me. It's not really- Okay. I'm getting mistaken. Okay, let me add the tab set to the rows as well. So maybe this would allow me. Oh, okay. Okay. So this is the tab one. Okay. I need this to be some sugar. So I'll take you to our studio after rendering this. So I'll explain what is going on. This is supposed to be 2, 1, 2. Yeah. Okay, let's go to our studio. I think the issue of live coding, just bear with me there. The tab set here. So what I did for the second row is that I first converted the row to a tab set. So that the next one was that, okay, is now the columns here that are not complying with the tab set. So just not okay with that. So, but let me just, let's move on. But the most important thing here is this. If we want to convert a row to a tab set that will contain multiple rows, then you have to give it this attribute. So if you want to convert a column that is going to be 3 asterisks, then you have to add this property as well. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to think something through before the end of the session. So just kindly bear with me. So John, I hope you understand what I just explained now.
Yes, please. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Okay, thank you too. So what you need to know is that it's just about changing the property of your row. Whatever is existing there is more like you have a property, a building. You want to convert it from maybe a 2-bedroom flat to a 4-bedroom flat. So this is the way you don't have to break down the whole structure, just change some things there. So this is where this properties comes in. So, but I will try and bring up why this one wasn't working, but this is just how you can change that. So another thing that I want to chip in is this. The structure or layers of the way your dashboard is going to be designed now is going to be affected by your sidebar. The sidebar is occupying an entire column. So if by default, everything is supposed to be row-based, arranged by rows. So if you still want, maybe you want to convert your structure to comply with row, then you have to go back to your YAML and change the orientation. So either to rows or to columns. So I'm still in our studio. So this is where you can change that. So from the format here, if you drop this down, I have a tab Be careful because YAML, it follows those indentation. So then you can now add orientation. So this orientation will either change it to rows or columns. So whichever one you want. Right now we are using columns now because we've added the sidebar. So if you change it to rows, it will comply to whatever structure you want. So you'll be able to do that. So that is this. So for the main project of today, I'll walk you through because another thing that you can do here now, this is a static dashboard. It's not interactive. If I take you back to the dashboard, so if you can see my screen, let me see. Okay, so this dashboard is static. You can't interact much with it, especially with the visuals. This is where we want to add interactivity. And also, can a user make changes to this? Like, okay, if I don't want all the columns here shown, can I change it? So this way you can add all those features here in the sidebar, and you'll be able to make some changes to the dashboard. The same thing goes for the second page, whichever one you want. So this is static. I am a Shiny developer, so we're going to add interactivity, make your dashboard dynamic by adding that feature to the dashboard. So we're going to bring in a little bit of Shiny. So I'm going to go to RStudio. So if you want to convert your dashboard to what we call an interactive or a dynamic dashboard, then you have to add something to it. So here we're going to do what? We're going to add the server side. Server. So that server side is what is going to help us, and we are going to use Shiny to do that. So this is where you don't have a static dashboard anymore. It's going to change and have something that is running behind the scene. Okay, so that is what we're going to do right now. So I'll walk you through the code and I will explain what I'm doing there. Wherever we're kind of stuck, I would break it down. So let me take you to the project itself. Okay, so I hope you can see my screen, my tidy, my RStudio. So these are the dashboard that I showed at the beginning, showed to you guys at the beginning of the project. Okay, so like I did to the previous one that we are working on, you're going to have to transform your dashboard. This is a Quarto document. You can see the extension shows .qnd. To convert this to an interactive dashboard, just add this layer in your YAML. So this will now convert it to something equivalent to a Shiny dashboard. So, but we'll still have a Quarto here. So that's just the difference. But what I believe is this, it makes it easier for you, for somebody who is just trying to create a dashboard or create something that you can use to tell your story. You can do that with Quarto. So you don't have to go get yourself stressed up with, okay, Shiny is difficult or something. No, it's even more easier now for you to create something dynamic with Shiny. So, and the same thing goes with Quarto. So I'm going to walk you through. I tried to replicate something from one of the popular competitions online, especially on LinkedIn. That's Maven Analytics Data Competition. So I took one of their projects and I tried to replicate it because I was talking to a friend, say, okay, let me try and see if I can achieve this with Quarto, the new Quarto dashboard. And that is what I did here. I was able to do most of it, but not all. At least I'm sure that I can do that. So the competition uses 4 documents here, file, and data files. So we have one for the accounts, products, and sales pipeline, sales team. I'm not going to be too detailed about the manipulations that I did here, but I'll show you how I structured the dashboard to create something so kind of meaningful there that I showed. So I've already made this my shiny that's responsive to shiny syntax. So with this addition. So now I just need to add a code chunk. So remember, the structure of your dashboard is based on those header levels. This is just a code chunk, so it's not part of it. So it's not going to be displayed when we render or run the document. So I can do all the manipulations that I want to do here. So I know you're familiar with R, that's why we're here. So I just bring in the data, load the data, do some manipulations here. And I have to kind of add some features like variables that I can call later. So the choices, so we have some choices here. Then I did some merging of the data. So we're going to share this. Don't worry about that. So from what we've done earlier, I added the sidebar. So let me add another document like this, Quarto documents. I'll be copying the code and showing you how everything evolves. So let's do this. So I am going to go back here. So up to the level of the sidebar. So I'll pick out all this, drop it in here. Demo. So I'll give it demo CRM dashboard. Okay. So save this. So then I'll let's run the document out. I think I need shiny now. So it's kind of building the backend code or something. It's rendering this into something we can view in the browser. Let's hope things go, but I don't know where to add things. So, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let me share what we have now. So you can see the dashboard now. And if you look carefully, the code is not showing here because the code is supposed to be what will build the dashboard. So I don't need to see all those manipulations there, nothing. I don't need to see them. So this is the collapsible sidebar. So as you were building the dashboard, I'll be explaining everything. So right now I'll close that and add other parts. So after adding the sidebar, I'm going to need to do more things for the sidebar. I want to add a select input, these two. So if I add these two now, we're going to have something inside
we're
the
not seeing
sidebar.
your RStudio screen.
Oh, okay. So sorry. Thank you.
Please, the screen. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Can you see it now?
Yes, please.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we can.
Okay, thank you so much. So right now, this is the sidebar. within the sidebar, I want to place 2 select inputs. You can only add this select input when you are running. It's basically 4 shiny. So those are the interactivity that you can. So you can use it to manipulate your visuals or any variables that you want to display to your audience. So this is the advantage of adding the shiny flavor into your Quarto dashboard. So with this, I can add those 2 select inputs there. Then I can also add 2 outputs. That means these 2 outputs are just to display something to the audience or the users of the dashboard. But here they get to select some choices of their own. So this is from Shiny. There are 2 very critical parts here. One, the ID, a unique identifier for that select input, because that is what we're going to use at the back end where we have the server. So we're not going to say select input. We're going to call on the input ID, and this is going to be given to us from here. So don't be scared. We're going to let, that's why it's better to do something practical than doing the theoretical aspect so that you see things live. So here now, this ID selected manager is going to be what we're going to call on when we get to the back end. So that's where the server comes in. So then this is the second identifier for the second drop-down options that we have. And also the same thing for the UI output that we're adding. So the next one is this. If you remember, what am I trying to achieve here with this first level? If somebody can just say it or you put it in the chat. I'll go to the chat now. So with the first level, what do you think I'm trying to add here? Can anyone remind us? First level, second level, okay. So anyone to help out? We're still, okay, a page. Thank you so much, Ifeoma. So I'm adding a page because when we rendered the dashboard, when I kind of copy out this code, the only thing on that dashboard was the sidebar and nothing was inside of it. So now I can't display anything visual in the sidebar except I add a page. And inside the page, and I can now break it down into rows and columns. And that is the next thing now. So the first one that I have here is the manager's overview, because we are talking about the CRM dashboard. So customer relationship management already, that's this. So we're using this as the first page where the manager, there's a goal for the competition. So we just need to add that page. So I just look at the winning dashboard there and replicate it here. So the next thing is I need the row because it's a big page or like a big land. I need to break it down into different chunks, maybe the rooms, the kitchen and all this stuff. So I break it down into rows first. So this first row is going to take in a UI component. And this UI component is big. It's going to take the entire row, but at the end of the day, I'm going to add a multiple KPIs here. So sorry, I'll share the code. The way we learn is that you are free to copy codes, but it will be beneficial to you if you learn through each line of the code. And you'll be able to kind of use that knowledge into your own dashboard. So don't think of it as, okay, it's getting complicated now. No, you're going to have the code, the recordings are there as well. So this UI is like a big container that I can put in different bottles. And these different bottles are the KPI boxes that I want to add. So the next one, now on this page, I have the first row. then this is going to be the second row. The first row is occupying 30% in height. So then the second one, 60. So you can just manipulate it the way you want it. But I just left this. This gave it a kind of a space, and they're not merging into each other. So this is one row and then second row. The first row is having the box that's going to the UI output that is going to take in all the KPIs. Then the second row is going to have this. We have some plots here. So this is your column. You are creating a column now. So this is the second level header, £2. Then this is third. So that means I'm breaking the rows down into columns now. That's the second row, not the first one. The first one has one column by default. So the second row now is going to have two columns. This is one and this is two. So you can give it any name. So for you to be able to understand, it's not going to show up. So the first column is 40%, the second one is 60% wide. So we want to just kind of, this is the way I want it. So we have the first plot. This is not ggplots visual, because we want to add interactivity to it. Plotly output is available within the Shiny context. So if you actually want to use Plotly within just the static Quarto document, then you have to use the package Plotly, and also use ggplotly function to make it interactive, to make your ggplots visual interactive. So this is available because we are using Shiny and Quarto. So the second one now is going to be, if I copy this and add it to our previous visual and dashboard, that's the second dashboard, the demo one, we're going to have something, but it's not going to work because the output here is supposed to work with something behind that's on the server side. So I will go through all the steps, then we'll run it together. I don't want to go back and, okay, this is not running, because most of the codes are dependent on each other, and I will explain. So the second page is going to be for manager, their product and sector. So then we have the rows. The first row is broken down into two columns, just like you have it here. And also we have plots here. So if I'm going too fast, just call me back, raise your hands, then one of our organizers would alert me and I'll answer your questions. So the second page is for the managers and product and sector. So for them to have an overview of how they are performing based on the products they're selling and the sector they are selling to. So the first one we're having, please kindly signify if you want to talk or you mute yourself. Thank you. So now we have the first visual here is for the sales by product. Another thing you have to understand is this: if you're breaking your rows into columns and you want to add title to it, then you can add this chunk here inside your code chunk. You start with a £, then followed by this pipe. It's under, if you are using QWERTY, that's the key is after the backspace. So you just press your shift key down, then you press that key. That has, I think, the / or something. So you'll be able to get that in there, because without it, you cannot add this title. So you'll see the way it's displayed. So then for the second, this is for the second page. So we have the plots here. We have those plots. Then the third page is for manager sales, how they performed based on the sales
To stop
for that
climbing it.
quarter.
Yeah. Sit.
Okay. So sorry for that. We are humans. We do get carried away sometimes. So now for the managers, the sales performance, this is the page. Then for the sales agents, also their KPI, they are able to view it and their output for their KPI cards is there as well. Then the visuals all are here. So I want us to move out of the UI. Now we're going to the server side so that you understand how the entire page is being run. So whatever you're having on at the UI level is not going to display anything. Like, let me just copy all this. Control C and dump it here. Control A and V. So I'll run the document. Let's see. So if you have questions at this point, I can take questions. So Zina, if you want, any question at this point, we can take it.
Yeah, please feel free to type in your questions in the chat or raise up your hands.
Okay, so let me share what we have. So
Okay, so we have
please, you
a question in
can.
the chat box.
Okay, good. Let's go. Good.
Yes, Theophilus is asking, what are the unique features of Quarto document over R Markdown? And why should you choose one over the other?
Okay. Okay, I'll give a quick one. The R Markdown is the support is not really there much right now, but it's still available. So the support is not so much. So, but Quarto was created to kind of replace that kind of at the level. We're still using R Markdown. There are still organizations that still use it. Another thing is this, the ease of using Quarto with different languages or programming languages is there. That is an edge it has over R Markdown. You can use it with Python, Julia, Observable, and so on. So I can even tell you that that made me to start to become a polyglot now. So now I use Python, I use R. So if I have maybe a client that is tending towards using, okay, can you create a Quarto document for me using Python or whatever? It's not about R anymore. It's about Quarto. So I can do whatever, I use any language I want with that. Then you're able to do so many interesting things that is better for you so that we don't get too much into that. You can do so much more compared to what you can do with R Markdown, especially in publications. You're looking at dashboards, reproducibility. Those features are there, and the way you can format or customize your document in Quarto, you can use Bootstrap. Okay, so that makes it much more beautiful. So I can add different themes to my document or my dashboard. It's a lot. So have I been able to give you some?
Yes, I think the takeaway message is Quarto is like an upgraded version of R Markdown that we
Yeah.
should
Yes.
use.
But it doesn't mean that R Markdown is dead. No.
Markdown. Yes,
No.
yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so this is the dashboard now. This is after adding the UI part of it. So I can interact with it because it's data, but nothing is shown here. The visuals here are not there. because they're waiting for the back end messages from the server. So without those messages, nothing is going to work here. Because if you make any changes here, I'm supposed to see some changes in the visual. So all these are things that you can do literally on Quarto without interacting with the visuals there. Just, okay, what you see is what you get. But if you want to give your users power, then you add the shiny effect. You have the server there to help. So let me go back to our studio where we'll continue. I'll explain all that. But if we have to go breaking it down one by one, then we have to teach Shiny and also teach Quarto. So let's go ahead. So now I'm I'm in our studio now, I believe. Let me check that again. Yes, I'm in our studio. So the difference transitioning from UI to the server side is just about adding the code chunk. This code chunk, which you can easily create. The shortcut is Control-Alt-I. This is an ordinary code, but if you want to transform it into server-side code, then you have to add this context that you're not just working on a simple document, you're talking to something at the back, the server. Okay? So this is the first thing that you need to notice. Okay? So that is that. So this is just a comment. So reactive expression to filter sales agents based on selected sales manager. So now what we want to do from what you've seen in the dashboard, the demo dashboard, we already have the drop downs. If I select when I selected something there, nothing happened. So now this is where it happens. A little bit of shining. For any code to work interactively or select a value that changes, you have to put it in this context. You have to convert it from just ordinary code to a reactive code. That is a code that responds to changes. That's the literal meaning that I can give to it. So you can either do it this way, like reactive. Okay, so if it's a single line of code, but if you're having multiple lines, like you're using the pipe and you are dropping it on different lines, then you have to add this curly bracket to it. You have to add it. So that is just it. So if you look at the code within the reactive context, it's just your normal dplyr code syntax. So here we're just looking at the entire data set, that is sales data. We want to filter out information for the selected manager, which is from the dropdown, the first dropdown. Then we'll pull out the sales agents that are under this selected manager. So then we don't want repeated values. We'll convert it to unique values. So then we also sort. Simple. Then whatever we now save here, let me take this out. Whatever I save here in this variable filtered agents is a reactive value, reactive data, because it's going to change anytime anybody make changes to this drop down. And you remember I told you they need to have unique ID. And this is the ID that we're calling by starting with the input, the $sign, then you get to add the ID, selected manager. So anytime anybody make changes to this, it will come back to the server, change and go through this code again. So that is the way it's going to work. So then dynamic UI for the theme selection. So anything that is being selected based on the filtered agents here is going to also affect this one. So here, we are not saving into an ordinary variable like what we did here. This is a reactive data. So if you want to call it you can't say filtered agents like this, you're going to get an error. It's not just an ordinary variable or a data name or what, but it's a reactive value. So that's why you have to follow it up with an opening and closing bracket. So, and that is where we push this in. So the second drop down now is going to have whatever we got from here. So anytime they make changes to the selected manager again, this will change. So that is the way it works. So the same thing here, we're filtering the data based on what we have here, because now we have data there, we filter that. And so can you still hear me? This thing is unstable. Okay, so we'll be able to make some changes here. So, and we will save this into outputs that have their unique ID. So whatever is going to be displayed in your dashboard is an output. Whatever you're having on your dashboard that is giving back data to the server side is the input. So if you go through, we'll be okay. So now let me go back to where I stopped. So the reactive components here, from where we stopped, whatever is allowing the user to make changes to the dashboard is what we're calling we're referring to as the input, while what the user is seeing is what we're saying that referred to as output. So Alexandra, you can go ahead with your question. Let me take a pause here.
All right. Thank you very much. Looking at the way Quarto handles variables, so how will you call a function in Quarto? Because it's like you are calling a function when you are referring to let's say, a variable in terms of the Quarto interface.
Okay. Thank you for that question. It's not about Quarto, it's Shiny. When you create a reactive variable, okay, or data, you have to, that's the norm, that's the way we write it when we're working with Shiny related what would I say, projects like dashboards. So if you have a reactive, that is a variable that changes based on what the user is doing on your dashboard, then you have to save it as a reactive value or reactive data or a reactive data frame. So if you now do that, that means you cannot just refer to it ordinarily by just calling this name. So it has to be followed by this bracket, open and close bracket. That is the way we write it in Shiny. It's not about Quarto. If it is Quarto, you can refer to the document like okay, let me create an ordinary Quarto document. Just hold on. This. Then I'll copy the code chunk here. Okay. So I have this document now. Let me just save. Static Quarto. Okay, so let me just save that. So, okay, I'll just drop it here in this code chunk. Then I'll take out. Okay, so, okay, let me just say my table. Then I'll add another code chunk. Let's go to the source.
Oh, yeah.
So now, if I just want to display this one, I think I should be able to play around. So let me just call the name of the cells. So it just displays that. So cells, that's the data frame, okay? So now I will render this. So this is the name and a data object or an object's name, like a variable. And I can call it like this. Okay. So the codes are okay. Let's just leave that for another day. Share my screen. Okay, so this is just ordinary. Don't worry about this one. I shouldn't have been showing the code. But I'm calling, what I need here is this. I'm calling the name of this data frame or variable ordinarily this way. But if I add that server-side aspect where I give these people, okay, I gave the users the opportunity to interact with my dashboard. Here is what they see. What I give them is what they will see. I can transform this into a maybe a React table or something. They can't do anything more than what React table package allows them to do. So, but if I want to give them more power to change which row or which column is being displayed inside this table, then I'll have to go into the server side. So the server side, the language on the server side is different compared to what you have in the ordinary document. And that is why we are calling it like a function. We are calling a variable name like a function. So I hope that is clear. It's a Shiny syntax, not Quarto. Because we are bringing Shiny to do something shiny. So are you clear with that?
Yes, thank you very much. I've gotten the clarity. So it's based on the signing linkage to Quarto that demands
exactly. Awesome. Yes.
All right.
100%. Right.
So thank you very much for the clarity.
Yeah. Thank you. So if I want to use any of these visuals that is being created here, so all I just need is just to so you can see that the code is not even here. The code to create the plot is not here. It's at the server side. So this is where the codes for the KPIs are here. You can see this ggplot. Okay. And the ggplotly that I said is this. So we convert it to an interactive plot, then we pass it to the plotly output that is going to be displayed to our users. So all the code that is going to create your visuals are going to be from the server side. So if I want to convert this now, I don't want to use all these ones. Then what I will just do is this. I'll pick this out, Control C, static Quarto. I get everything, all the data that I needed. Okay, so what I'll do now is this. I think I remember one of the, okay, let me go. I'll run this so that I'll have let me run this and have the data frame in the environment. Awesome. So I want to see one of the managers' name. Okay, Melvin Maxine, Control C. You can see this is getting manual now. So what I will just, so I will have to go and change this. So I'll just put this there. So what else am I going to, I have to change the quarter as well. So I think it's like, I hope I'll get it right. Q1, 2017. So Okay, what else am I changing here? Selected manager. So this is now going to be selected. So you can see I'm not using any bracket, open or closing bracket anymore. So let me see. I think I'm supposed to be free now. This, Oh, okay, I need to bring this in. Okay, so, okay, see this is it.
For me, I'm clear. I don't know of the others, so you could revert back to the other.
Okay, good.
Yes,
So
thank you
so
very much.
it's just going to be static if we are not going to use the open and close brackets. So that's how the whole thing evolves. So let's just move on. So I will save some time. So this is how we're going to do all that. The KPIs, because I don't want to repeat myself, I have to kind of create something that contains everything here. So we just have to kind of read up about layouts, columns in Shiny. But maybe in another meetup, maybe we can decide to have something about Shiny, hopefully. So, but this is how everything evolves. So for you to have an interactive Shiny dashboard within your Quarto, you have to bring Shiny in to hide the shine. So then you have to have your server side. So everything here, we did the calculations, then the outputs are there, everything. So let me just run and then we'll see how it works. So instead of just sharing a document per manager, just give them the dashboard like this and let them interact with it. So it's rendering now. Okay. I don't know where the dashboard went now. Sorry. Oh, okay. It didn't load. There's an error here. Sorry, I think I've made some changes to the document. Sorry. Let me go and could not find function this. Wait, which line? Okay, I have to look for it. So, okay, here, I think, yes, here. And you can see it's very sensitive and the codes, if you put in a reactive code outside of a reactive element, you get an error. So that's Shiny world we're bringing in here. This is where the error is coming from. So it's supposed to be within the context of a reactive or a Shiny code. So you don't put it outside because you won't be able to understand it. Outside means you are going into Quarto world. So let me run this again. Hopefully we'll be able to bring this up. Yeah, live coding is not funny. Okay. Okay, it's back here. So we have the dashboard now. So this it could be better. You can use more of CSS, but all these are just basics of what I just want to challenge myself that okay, what they did with Tableau or Power BI, can I achieve that with this, with Quarto dashboard? So if you make changes to whatever is here, so these are the reactive elements. So they all have IDs. The selected manager has an ID. The quarter year has an ID. The same thing, the selected team, but this one is just a static text. So we don't use that. So it's coming from here. So if I make changes here now, let's say I select Melvin, you see that everything here is going to change. So it's going to make some changes there. The same thing if I change the Q to, so this is it. So Gladys is going to change this. If you go to any of the sales agents and KPIs and make some changes there, it's going to affect this ones. So it's going to be changing based on this. So all the sales team here belongs to Melvin. So if I change anything here now, you see that the content here of this drop down is going to change because it's being controlled by what you select here. So this is how everything goes. And I believe practice will make perfect. Understanding the basics of Quarto, then knowing that I need to move another step forward if I want to have more of Quarto features for a dashboard when I want to create an interactive element. So this is the reason why I decided to go with this. So all these are going to change. You're going to make some changes there. So I hope this has been something that could motivate you to learn more and explore. So all these, they are being controlled, they are being changed by everything that I do here. If it's related to the sales teams, so you'll get to see everything. So I think at this point, this is where I'm going to stop. We're going to share the code. We're going to share the data. Right. So if you have questions, concern, and I hope we'll be able to share the recordings as well. So thank you. So if you have questions, you can ask me now. So, but this
Thank you
just...
Thank you very much. We are very grateful.
Thank you.
Derek, will you share it on the our mails or how will you share it?
I think we'll be able to share it with... Are you on our WhatsApp group?
Yes, please. There are.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
In
We'll
Ghana.
share. Okay, we are going to send to you via the meetup page, and we are also going to share on the WhatsApp group. So I'll be able to connect with you guys then.
Okay.
Then also
Thank you
we'll
very
have
much.
the recordings on our YouTube channel as well. So
Okay.
it's
That's
over
good.
to you, Zinat and Ifeoma.
So the YouTube sorry, the YouTube panel, the name please.
So just search for Our Ladies Abuja. Our Ladies Abuja.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
let me see, before we round up, I'll be able to share that. I'm coming. So for those who want to join the group, let me get the link for members. So I'll share it in the chat here. So you can join our WhatsApp group. So that is for the WhatsApp group for Abuja, our user group, and Our Ladies Abuja. So you can join. So it's over to you, Zinat and Ifoma.
Okay,
Thank
thank you so much, Bilkisu, for that insightful session. And I will hand over to Ifoma to do the conclusion remarks. Ifoma,
Okay.
it's over to you.
Thank you so much, Tina. Thank you so much, Benikisu. It was nice getting to see what we can use Quarto to achieve. As earlier stated, the recording and the slides will be shared. This webinar, it's a monthly, we hope to do it monthly. So hopefully there'll be another one for July. Please do register and turn up so we can all learn how to use R and the features it can do for us. So thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for staying. Until next time, I'm Ifoma, and we hope to see you. Bye. Do have a lovely weekend.